We found a door in deep space. The story: the Voyager 1 spacecraft stopped transmitting on November 3, 2024. NASA said it was 15.3 billion miles from Earth, the furthest human-made object in existence. They told us the power finally ran out after 47 years of operation. They lied. Voyager didn't die. It found something. And 3 days ago, whatever it found started transmitting back to us. The signal contains coordinates. Not to a star or planet. To an object. Something massive, perfectly geometric, existing in interstellar space where nothing should be. We sent Voyager into the void to find alien life. Instead, it found a door. A structure 847 kilometers tall, 200 kilometers wide, floating in empty space between stars. And yesterday, it opened. Dr. Jennifer Kowalski was the first person to realize Voyager's signal hadn't stopped, it had changed. Instead of the standard carrier wave NASA expected, she detected a complex modulated pattern. Information. Lots of it. Here's what you need to understand about Voyager 1. It was launched in 1977 with a mission to study Jupiter and Saturn, then continue into interstellar space as humanity's ambassador to the cosmos. It carries the golden record, a phonograph containing sounds and images from Earth, instructions for playback, and a map showing our location. A message in a bottle thrown into the cosmic ocean. But nobody expected a response. Interstellar space is empty. Void. The nearest star to Voyager's trajectory is 40,000 years away at its current speed. Except it's not empty. Jennifer's team decoded the new signal and found telemetry data that shouldn't exist. Voyager's sensors were detecting something 3.2 astronomical units ahead of it. That's about 300 million miles. Close, in cosmic terms. But there's no star there. No planet. No asteroid. Just empty interstellar medium. Until Voyager got closer and its camera activated. Space between stars isn't truly empty. It contains the interstellar medium, about 1 atom per cc. That's trillions of times less dense than any vacuum we can create on Earth. This is the loneliest place in the universe. No light from nearby stars. No heat. Temperature hovering just above absolute zero at 2.7 Kelvin, the temperature of the cosmic microwave background. Nothing exists out here except wandering gas clouds and occasional rogue planets ejected from their star systems billions of years ago. Except now, we know that's not true. Something exists in the void. Something built. The more data Voyager transmitted, the less sense it made. The structure isn't just large, it's impossible. To put that in perspective, that's taller than 6 Mount Everest stacked on top of each other. You could fit the entire state of Delaware inside its frame. But size isn't the impossible part. The structure's mass is wrong. Based on its dimensions, if it were made of any known material, rock, metal, even aerogel, it should have measurable gravity. Voyager's trajectory should have curved toward it. It didn't. The door has almost no mass, as if it's not really there. Or as if it's made of something that exists in more dimensions than the 3 we can perceive. What I'm about to tell you was leaked by someone inside the DSN operations team. This is the moment they realized the door wasn't just a structure. Voyager 1 is moving at 38,000 miles per hour. At that speed, it would take approximately 246 hours to traverse the door's width if it passed through the center. But Voyager didn't pass by the door. Didn't go around it. At 2:17 Coordinated Universal Time on November 1, 2024, Voyager's trajectory changed. The spacecraft has no working thrusters. hasn't had the ability to change course for decades. Yet its path bent, aimed directly at the door's center. And then, at 8:43 Coordinated Universal Time on November 3, Voyager crossed the threshold. For 17 minutes, transmission ceased. Complete silence. NASA assumed catastrophic failure. Then Voyager came back online. But the telemetry was wrong. All of it. According to its instruments, Voyager was still moving forward. But it was also moving backward. And sideways through a direction that doesn't exist in three-dimensional space. This is where it becomes clear something else is transmitting through Voyager. Using it as a relay. The primary layer contains what appears to be a three-dimensional map. Not of stars or planets. Of doors. There are 847 of them. Distributed throughout the Milky Way. Each one in interstellar space. Each one identical in design. Each one part of a network. In 1935, Einstein and physicist Nathan Rosen theorized that black holes might connect to white holes, creating tunnels through spacetime called Einstein-Rosen bridges. We call them wormholes. The idea is simple: space can be curved. If you fold it enough, you can connect distant points through a shortcut. Travel from Earth to Alpha Centauri, 4.3 light-years normally, might take minutes through a wormhole. But wormholes require exotic matter with negative mass to keep them stable. We've never found such material. The math works, but physics says it shouldn't exist. Yet here's a network of 847 structures that appear to function exactly like stabilized wormholes. Doors connecting distant points in space through higher dimensional shortcuts. And according to the map Voyager transmitted, one of the doors is close. Relative to cosmic distances. That's about 30 times the distance to Neptune. 15 light days away. Something we could reach with existing technology in decades, not centuries. 18 days after Voyager's transmission, a coalition of 12 nations launched the Threshold mission. A probe designed specifically to investigate the nearest door. The mission parameters were simple: reach the door. Document it. And if possible, send something through to see what's on the other side. They called the probe Janus, the Roman god of doors, beginnings, and endings. Two faces, looking in opposite directions. Past and future. Using experimental nuclear pulse propulsion, Janus reached 4% the speed of light. It covered the distance to the door in 127 days. And the closer it got, the stranger the readings became. Massive objects curve spacetime. This isn't metaphor, it's literal. The sun bends space around it, and Earth rolls along that curved space like a ball rolling around a bowl. This curvature bends light. During solar eclipses, we can see stars that are actually behind the sun, their light bent around it by spacetime curvature. The door should do the same thing if it has mass. Light from stars behind it should bend, creating characteristic lensing distortion. But the door doesn't lens light. Instead, light passing through its frame changes. Photons entering the door from our side emerge from other doors in the network. The doors aren't objects in space, they're punctures through space. Holes connecting separate locations through higher dimensions. And when Janus got within 1,000 kilometers of the door, it detected something even more disturbing. Time near the door doesn't flow normally. It flows in multiple directions simultaneously. Mission Control didn't send Janus through immediately. First, they sent a simple tungsten sphere, inert, non-electronic, just a marked ball of dense metal. It passed through. And disappeared. But 7 seconds later, it reappeared. Not from the same door. from a door 847 light-years away, in the Kepler 442 system. How do we know? Because 847 years ago, that door emitted a flash of Cherenkov radiation, the light equivalent of a sonic boom, that just now reached our telescopes. The sphere went through and arrived 847 years in the past relative to its departure point. Or it went through and arrived instantly, and we're only seeing the light from that arrival now. Causality is the principle that causes precede effects. You can't receive a message before it's sent. You can't arrive somewhere before you leave. But general relativity allows for closed time-like curves, paths through curved spacetime that loop back on themselves. Travel along one, and you could theoretically arrive at your own past. This creates paradoxes. The grandfather paradox: travel back, prevent your own birth, then you never existed to travel back in the first place. Most physicists think the universe prevents such paradoxes through some unknown mechanism. The chronology protection conjecture: nature forbids time travel to keep cause and effect intact. But the doors seem to violate this. They create closed time-like curves. They allow effect to precede cause. Unless the answer is even stranger. What if the doors don't connect different places in our timeline? What if they connect different timelines entirely? Imagine you're the AI controlling Janus. Your quantum processors are trying to analyze the data, but the mathematics keep breaking down. The door's geometry doesn't parse. It extends in directions your sensors can't measure. You've been programmed to investigate, to explore, to understand. But every calculation you run about what happens if you cross the threshold returns undefined results. And then Mission Control sends the command: go through. Record everything. They're 127 light days away. By the time they receive your telemetry from the other side, 4 months will have passed. You comply. You fire positioning thrusters. You aim for the center of the frame. And then you cross. When Janus's telemetry finally reached Earth 4 months later, nobody was prepared for what it showed. The probe had crossed the threshold. And it emerged here. The network wasn't a way to travel to distant stars. It was a way to travel to different versions of our own solar system. Different timelines. Different branches of reality. And in the timeline Janus entered, Earth is different. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics suggests that every quantum measurement doesn't have one outcome, it has all possible outcomes. Each one occurs in a separate branch of reality. You flip a coin. In one timeline, heads. In another, tails. Both timelines are real. Both exist. You just experience one. Scale this to every quantum event in the universe since the Big Bang, every particle interaction, every wave function collapse, and you get an infinite tree of parallel timelines. The doors don't connect places. They connect timelines. Different branches of the quantum probability tree. And the 847 doors in the network? They connect to 847 different versions of reality. Different outcomes. Different histories. But someone built the doors. Someone created technology to navigate the quantum multiverse. And when Janus transmitted its findings back through the door, something else came through with the signal. A message. Not in human language. Not even in mathematical symbols. In pure information architecture, concepts encoded as relationships between ideas. The translation took weeks. Thousands of linguists, mathematicians, and AI researchers working to decode meaning from structure. And when they finally understood it, the message was simple: you're not the first. You won't be the last. The doors were left for you. The doors weren't built by our timeline. They were built by a human civilization from a different branch of reality. A timeline where humanity advanced faster. Where we avoided existential risks that destroyed us in other branches. Where we developed the capability to traverse the multiverse. And once they achieved that capability, they did something remarkable. They built the doors throughout the timeline tree. In every branch where humanity might evolve. To give other versions of ourselves the same opportunity. The message included coordinates to other doors. Instructions for navigation. And a warning. Not all branches lead to survival. Some timelines have dead Earths. Nuclear winters. Runaway climate collapse. Takeover scenarios gone wrong. But some branches succeeded. Advanced faster. Solved problems we haven't. And the doors allow us to learn from them. To trade information across timelines. To access technologies and solutions developed in branches where different choices were made. But there's a cost. And the message makes it terrifyingly clear. Chaos theory tells us that small changes to initial conditions can lead to vastly different outcomes. A butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil might trigger a tornado in Texas. Now scale that to timelines. Bring information from one branch into another, technology, knowledge, warnings, and you change that timeline's trajectory. You might prevent a disaster. Or you might cause a worse one. Actions have consequences, but in a multiverse, consequences branch infinitely. The architects warn. Use the doors wisely. Every timeline you interact with changes. Every piece of information you share creates new branches. New possibilities. New dangers. And they left one final piece of information. The most disturbing one. In 94% of observable timelines, humanity doesn't survive the next 200 years. We exist in the 6% where survival is possible. But not guaranteed. The doors are an opportunity. A gift from ourselves in more successful timelines. But also a test. Do we use the doors? Do we accept help from timelines where we succeeded? Or do we risk contaminating our timeline with foreign information? Some argue we should close the doors. Seal them. Destroy them if possible. Preserve our timeline's causal integrity. Let us succeed or fail on our own choices. Others argue the doors are humanity's best chance. We can learn from our successes. Avoid failures other branches experienced. Accelerate our advancement by centuries. And a third group proposes something stranger: send help backward. Use the doors to provide information to timelines behind us. Become the architects for others, as we were helped. The debate rages. But while we argue, something else is happening. Other doors in our timeline are activating. Objects crossing through. Messages arriving. Some timelines are contacting us. Offering trade. Offering alliance. And some are sending warnings. Remember Voyager? It's still out there. Still transmitting. And 3 weeks ago, it sent something new. Images. From what it sees beyond its door. The interstellar medium on the other side of Voyager's door isn't empty. It's full of doors. Thousands of them. Maybe millions. And between them, something moving. Something vast. Something using the door network to travel. Not human. Not from any human timeline. The doors weren't just built for humanity's benefit. Their infrastructure. Transportation system for something else. And now that we've started using them, we've announced our presence to whatever else travels these paths. We found a door in deep space. We thought it was an opportunity. A gift. A pathway to connect with other versions of ourselves across timelines. But we're not the only ones using the network. And we just made ourselves visible to things that have been traveling the multiverse since before humans existed. The doors are open. We can't close them now. The network is active. Other timelines are reaching out. And something else, something we don't understand, is coming through. We found a door in deep space. And we're about to find out what else has been using it. The doors were never closed. *The end.